Hello, we are going to talk today about variables, introducing what a variable is, and a few examples of like how to work with small expressions just to get the year started off. So first thing, we're always going to be talking about context. So let's write the title, Variables in Context. Make sure you write the date. Makes it easier to go through the notes and know like this is the order that we did things in, and if you want to go back to a certain date to kind of check things. So let's talk about pets real quick, and specifically dogs. So let's say we start with something simple that we pretty much all know how to do. 6 plus 3. Let's put some context behind this though. So let's say this is dog park 1 has 6 dogs, and dog park 2 has 3 dogs. So that should be pretty easy for us to add those both together. We know that we have 9 dogs total. The idea of a variable comes in when we don't know how many dogs are in, let's say, just dog park 1. So let's just call that D. But let's say that we're in dog park 2 and we know that there's 3 dogs. Do we know how many total dogs we have? We do not, because we don't have enough information about dog park 1. So let's go ahead and interpret what each of these pieces mean. This is going to be the part that we want you to know how to do, is look at something like this and interpret, okay, D is the number of dogs at dog park 1. That's what D represents. Maybe there's 15 dogs there and it's 15 plus 3. Maybe there's 1 dog there and it's 1 plus 3. We don't know, so we just label that with the variable D. So that's one thing that we know about this expression. We should also know that 3 is the number of dogs at dog park 2. If this is super easy for you, that's awesome, because it'll just make things a lot easier later on when we start getting into more complex expressions and equations. But we're starting off hopefully a little bit on the easier end today. The last thing that we should be able to interpret is, what does D plus 3 mean? So D plus 3 is the total number of dogs at both parks. So D plus 3 represents that total number of dogs. So the main goal here is the idea that you have a letter, we call those variables, and they're in place of an unknown value. So 6 is an example, but if we're not at dog park 1, we might not know how many dogs there are, so we can call that D. Let's talk about a second example. So let's go into example 2. And let's talk about cereal. So I don't know if you've ever been to the store and you see those jumbo cereal boxes, and or even like shampoo or soap, where they say you get 30% extra, or 10 ounces bonus that's free. So let's talk about that a little bit. Leave a little bit of space above this expression. Let's just write 32 plus 6. And we should know 32 plus 6 gives us 38. The box is going to say you get a bonus free ounces. So you get 6 bonus free ounces. So 6 ounces in there are free. That means that 32 ounces is the ounces of cereal we pay for. So 32 is the ounces of cereal we pay for. So we're paying for 32 ounces. It's giving us 6 ounces free, and then that gives us 38 total ounces of cereal. So if we incorporate a variable in here, there's a bunch of different size cereal boxes. Well, maybe just 2, but you got a small box. Sometimes you have a larger box. So let's say that we don't know how big our box is. Let's just call this C. But they're always going to give us those 6 free ounces. Do we know how many ounces are in the box total? We do not. So we're just going to really quickly define what each of these pieces mean. So the first thing we want to know is, what does C represent? C is the unknown value. It represents, C is the number of ounces of cereal we pay for. So maybe we pay for 32 ounces of cereal. Maybe we pay for 20 ounces of cereal and it's a smaller box. But that unknown value that we just don't know because it's the variable, that's the number of ounces that we pay for. The second thing that we should know, we have the number 6. 6 is the number of bonus free ounces of cereal. So it's how many free ounces we're going to get. It's that bonus amount. And it's always going to remain 6 because it's written as 6. It's not a variable. So we know that value for sure. And then the last thing that we can interpret is this entire C plus 6. So we've got the number of ounces we pay for plus the free ounces. So C plus 6 is the total number of ounces of cereal in the box. So this first week is going to be pretty heavy on like writing what these variables mean. Do your best, write it out as detailed as possible. It's really going to help you out as we get into more complex stuff next week. Let's do one more example. This time we're going to do subtraction. So let's call this example 3. And I'm going to talk about Waldo's Pizza. I think Waldo's is pretty decent. I've never ordered a full, well, I guess I have ordered a full pizza there, but I'm more so talking about the slices when you walk in. Those are pretty good. Let's say we got a problem 20 minus 5. Again, leave a little bit of space so that we can title these. So 20, that's the money in my pocket. So I'm going in there with a $20 bill. $5 is how much it's going to cost for a slice and a pop. So 5 is for the slice and pop. And we can do that math. 20 minus 5, that equals 15. Well, what is 15? That is the money I have left. The money I have left when I leave Waldo's. So our goal is to interpret all these pieces. I know I've got $20 in my pocket, but let's say we don't know this person. They come into Waldo's and we don't know how much money they have in their pocket, but we know they're buying a slice, and a pop. So we're subtracting $5. Do we know how much money they're leaving with? I don't, because I don't know how much money they came here with. So let's interpret these variables really quick, and then we'll be pretty much done with our notes. So the first piece is M. So M represents the amount of money we have when we enter Waldo's. So M, the amount of money we have when we enter Waldo's. We've got a 5 right here. 5 is the cost of a slice and pop. That's why we're subtracting it. So we start with money, we're taking away the $5 because we have to purchase that. And then the last thing I want to interpret is the whole entire value of M minus 5. So it's how much you start with minus how much you had to pay. So M minus 5 is the amount of money we have when we leave Waldo's. And that's it for our notes.